Interesting. Sure, it was the more predictable outcome of the 50-50, but the idea of it still intrigued me, although I'm kind of disappointed in the editing of this episode because given how we had nothing really from the Orange Tribe before the immunity challenge, I was totally expecting the Purple Tribe to lose, but instead they were able to perform one heck of a comeback, which is the first time in a long while that the theory that I have, has been kind of disproven, where they show a tribe that's behind for a lot of the challenge catching up, and then the tribe that was ahead all along finishes. But there was one thing that should have clued me in, because usually when you have that catch up and then the tribe that was ahead finishes anyway, it's when they're like 75% done with the last stage. Here they were just one thing short of completing the last stage, so that probably was a clue as to why this would have happened. But yeah, that was kind of surprising, but it was well earned. I don't think there's been a single challenge this season where the victory wasn't earned, minus, possibly the first one, but the producers put that gimmick in there with the hopes that someone would use it, so yeah, that was kind of to be expected. Although Dalton Ross is of the opinion that because, Orange Tribe didn't get mentioned at all, you should have predicted that. I don't know, man, I don't know. Right. So, other things to mention. The new potential shakeups on the Purple Tribe, that's interesting, because you know how we saw the original Purple Tribe members fracture over there? It goes to show that it's not all one big happy family. I mean, because if this season has another swap, which I'm betting it will, original tribal lines mean virtually nothing. It's usually a new group, or it's the second tribal lines, which seems to be more common. All-Stars, Gaboon, there's one more big one, whatever, that doesn't matter, I guess, yeah. Cook Islands, duh. Yeah. So we'll see what happens in that area. Can't really react to individual people there because there's still too many for me to keep track of, and since there's only 15 episodes, and the 15th episode is the reunion, you know that this season is going to have the finale start with 6 people, then they have to do rapid-fire eliminations. Honestly, when are these producers going to stop that? You get rid of the excess people at the beginning of the merge, so it's more tense for the last people in the merge, okay? Don't keep too many people around for too long. It's not a good strategy, especially since it's becoming more and more obvious that 20 people is too many people for this game, Yeah. I've already commented on that reward challenge in practice, it was a nice challenge, and they earned that win. And I really do find it kind of amusing, but at the same time kind of suspicious that the one person who was like, this is my biggest survivor fear, drawing rocks, and then she gets the rock. Now, in hindsight, okay, it was coincidence, but it is the kind of thing that the naysayers really hype on about. But I really do like how she used her mind when she was presented with that option at Ghost Island, to where you either get an advantage, but you have to risk your vote at the tribal. And yeah, if she hadn't done that, it would have been 4-4. Not good. And it would have been kind of interesting, because since she had if she had gambled and lost, and then had no votes, presumably everything still would have happened the exact same way, although the original Purple people might have worked a little harder to fracture the other group, who knows. And then you would have had a 4-4 tie, and you presumably would have had a free on the revote, provided they still do revotes. Like, when was the last time they did that, really? I can't remember now on the American version. Yeah. So, how would drawing rocks have worked in that situation? Because does the person who had no vote draw? I think technically, yeah, that's probably what they would do, but I wish that we had that question answered. And I find it really interesting how, on this version of the Risk Your Vote challenge, it was 50-50. Do you, get the advantage or do you lose your vote? Whereas in Survivor South Africa, when they did this twist, it was a 1 in 3 shot. That's interesting. But yeah, that was very good logic, but I seriously wonder if she had the opportunity to change her mind later. Like, is it you just walk up to the table and then make your decision, or do you technically have your entire time on the island? I wish they had made that clear, too. I already mentioned the immunity challenge. Then, Michael's, business with, using the idol as a partial bluff. Kind of creative, but one idol having the power of two, that's a really big, bluff. Like, had he potentially tried to bluff it and say that it's a super idol, that might have worked better, but the thing is, if they're using props from the original seasons, why wouldn't they have just used a super idol to begin with? They have 3 of them after all. Tony. Yeah, so, just kind of interesting, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like it could have been a little bit better, especially since, he told the purple people exactly who they were voting for, because that actually made the situation a lot less tense, because the other 4 people are like, okay, we're not at risk unless he's lying, though they should have been able to tell that he wasn't lying. And then the guy who they're voting for, he's like, well, I can't flip to you guys right now, because that's not going to accomplish anything and just create total chaos. And if I just do what I'm doing, then I have to rely on everyone else to help me, which is what I was doing to begin with. Yeah, so that part definitively he should not have done. Although granted, his only other option was to go to individual people from the Purple Bloc and try and get them to sway, but you know that word would have leaked back. Yeah. So I guess I'm complaining about nothing in this situation because he did the best that he could, although, according to Brendan in his exit interview, Michael here does seem to have a lot of charisma. Interesting, because, like, who would have thought that, lying about your age could make a big difference, but I guess it is. But yeah, he definitely does not look like that he's 18 at all. He really does look like he's older. Like, I've had a few people who, when I was working at the pizza place in community college, they asked me how old I was. I told them early 20s, and they're like, seriously? You sound and look like you're a lot older than that. Which was news to me because I was always told that I looked younger than I looked, but of course that was when I was in high school, so, yeah. Well, I guess I had a little more to say than I thought I did, although I'm mainly talking about nitpicks in this episode. This season's getting better, but I'm still waiting for something to really latch on to. We'll see what happens.